Hi everyone, and welcome to Watercolors with Jaylene. And for today's little tutorial, I want to do some very delicate little flowers, very light, very delicate, wispy petals on them, all monochrome, and something a little bit different. And it's just a fun practice for you to sit around and, just kind of practice with your florals. They are easy to do, and there's so many different looks, and this one I thought was just kind of fun because it is very light and very delicate. So before we get started today, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my video if you would. It really helps my channel grow, and I appreciate it so much. And feel free to leave comments below. There will also be down in the description box a link for my paints, which are the Winsor & Newton paints. It's a little 24 pan set of paints that I absolutely love. And so I'll have that down there if you want to go ahead and, grab those. And then also probably for my paintbrush as well. But so it's the materials list for today is very basic because we are using just one color on the flower, well, actually two colors on the flowers, and then for the leaves. And I'll go over those real quick. So we do have the watercolor paper. This is a number 6 round brush, and this one I particularly like because of the point on the brush. It works so nice on some of the finer little marks that I make. So we have the paper, the brush, and then as I had mentioned, my Winsor & Newton 24 cake pan, and I'll show you this just real quick. It's just a really nice, it's easy to take with you. And so it's fun, it's easy, and there's some great colors in there. So for today, to paint these little delicate flowers, and they're just small little flowers, what I'm going to be doing is mixing some of the crimson, the alizarin crimson hue with a little bit of Chinese white to give it a nice soft hue. And then in the middle, it will just be the crimson hue. And then for the leaves, that will be with the hooker's green. And then my clean water and also my paper towel to blot my brush on. So let's get started, and here is my piece of paper. And so what I do to begin with is I want to mix up a little bit of my red, my crimson hue. So I put some of that into one of my little dishes. I'll move this over here so you can see it. So I do like to get some of this in here. And then once I get some of the red in there, and if you wanted to use a different color, that's fine. I've done these in blues and kind of like a purplish color, and then also in an orange color. So I've cleaned my brush, and now I do want to grab some of the Chinese white. And then you'll see, when I mix that in, it just kind of softens that red. And that's what gives it such a delicate light pink color. So I want to grab just a little bit more of that. And not only does that soften the color, but also as I'm painting them, I am sure to have a lot of water on my brush and very light amount of the paint itself. So what I will do, and you can make the flowers as large as you want or as small. I think with these little delicate flowers, it's nice to have them kind of on the small side. So I'm going to just get, as I mentioned, a lot of water and little color. And then, of course, it's kind of a teardrop shape with kind of like a fluttery edge to the petals. And the trick to this is that you don't want any of the petals touching on the inside. You want to make sure that you do leave a little bit of a white space. And I'm trying to do this so that my hand isn't in the way. Okay, so that one's kind of big, and that's okay. So, and that one almost is a little too much color on the brush, believe it or not. So I'm going to do yet another one here. And, you know, we just want to make sure that there's a lot of water. And you can see how quick these go. You know, and as I mentioned, you can leave it a little bit fluttery at the top or at the edge of the petals. Okay, so you can see how much lighter that one is. So now that I have these two, what I'll do is I'm going to go back in and just grab some of the straight red and dab it in the middle in that white area that we made sure we left there. So we want to dab that around, and also a little bit into the bottom of each of the petals, and so that it can kind of blend back up into the flower. So we want to make sure that we're doing this while the petals are still a little bit wet. And if you don't get to all of the petals, that's okay. Okay, so we'll leave those to kind of blend in a little bit. And while those are blending and drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab some more paint on my brush. Paint and water. And so this one, you can see just how light it is. And this is nice. You can have some that are darker and then some that are lighter. You know, gives some nice contrast to all the different flowers that you have in your little cluster. And then, as I always mention, I do try and do 5 petals. I always like to do things in odd numbers, 3s, 5s, 7s. So I have that one, and that's still pretty wet, so we'll let that continue to dry, and while that's drying, I'll just start on another one here. And these, you can tell there's barely any color, which that's what keeps them so delicate looking. If you do get them dark like that, they aren't quite as of a delicate look. So these are so easy to do. They're fun, they're fast. It's a great practice, you know. And if you were doing, I don't know, some kind of a little design for someone that's getting married and you want to do their names and the date of their wedding and that type of thing, if you wanted to do like a border around it, these would be great for just that delicate little border. Or if there's a new baby that you wanted to, you know, customize a date of birth announcement type of thing, this would be wonderful to do. And so now I'm just going back in and kind of dabbing. And see how those are blending very nicely? That's what's so fun about this. You know, a lot of times with flowers that I paint or other people, we, you know, add a different color into the center, and it's not always necessary, just depending on what kind of a look you want. So we'll let those kind of blend out. And we'll go back and grab a lot of water, very little paint, and we'll create another one here. So basically, we want to make sure that we have very little paint on the brush with a lot of water. We want to make sure that we leave the centers open so that we can dab our center color in there so that it can blend. And keep the edges of the petals, you know, light and fluttery. All right, so I'm gonna do another one here. They don't have to be perfect, obviously. They can be different sizes. And a lot of times I do like to paint flowers, you know, that are looking towards you or looking to the side. These all pretty much are just face forward. They're just very basic because it is kind of just a little practice to have fun and get comfortable, you know, painting these. So I did turn my paper a little bit just so that I don't smear the two wet ones. So I'm going to do one more and then we'll go back in and do the centers to these. Like on this one, you can see I'm kind of, you know, going right into the other flower, and that's fine. That's how they look when they're, you know, out on a shrub or in a planter. So now I'm going to grab some of just the straight color and go in and start dabbing my centers in. And to grab this paint, you know, just the red, you do want your brush to be a little bit drier so that it's a heavier, you know, heavier amount of paint on your brush. Okay, and see how cool these are coming out. And then on this one, I do want to make that center just a little bit darker. So now that it's dried a little bit more, I'll add just a couple little dots of color to kind of put a little bit of a contrast in there, make it pop a little bit. Okay, perfect. These are turning out so cute. And you can see how quick and easy they are. That's the fun part. They're always quick and easy. Great little practice. So we'll get one down here. Move this up a little bit. Okay. And you can barely even see the paint on this one. You know, it's so light and delicate. So we'll let that one dry for a minute. And while that's drying, I'm going to turn this around and put one up in this area. That little petal got kind of crazy looking, didn't it? By the time I'm done with this, that'll be the coolest looking one. Then I'm going to put one more over here. Then we'll go back in and do the centers and then start dropping in some greenery. And these basically are just kind of like a big teardrop with an open end that you make fluttery. Okay, so now that we've got 3 more on here, let's grab some of this red. We'll dab this in. This one looks like it may have dried. Well, maybe it's going to blend a little bit. But it did dry a little bit more than some of the other ones, and that's okay. It just won't blend quite as much. Okay, look how fun these are. Like I said, you could do these in any color, whatever your favorite color is. They look really cute on a birthday card. There. And if you wanted to fill the sheet in a little bit more, you could do that as well, but I'll leave it like that for now. But yeah, if you wanted to do a birthday card or a thank you card, you know, these are just a fun little flower to do. So with that being said, let me grab some of my green, and I like to use the Hooker's green. It's a pretty true green, I guess. So let's grab some of this. And then for this, I just like to fill in a few stems here and there. You know, not really stems going anywhere specific, just kind of floating around. And then let's fill in some leaves. And this is a great time to practice on your leaves. You know, everyone has their favorite way of doing them. Okay. And if you want to do a couple different kinds, you know, large ones, small ones. If you want to do a couple wisps coming out from behind the flowers, that looks great. And let's put just a little leaf here. And sometimes I like to get very, very specific with my leaves and my greenery, but I recently have been just kind of a little, you know, just a little looser, I guess, with my greenery and my leaves to give them a little bit of character. Make them look just a little different than what a real leaf probably looks like. You can see just a couple little lines here and there. Here we can, you know, add just a little greenery coming out from the back of these. And there again, if you wanted to add, if you wanted to do larger leaves, you know, you could definitely go ahead and do something a little larger. Come down and do something maybe like that. And it's just good practice. That's all this is just practice, you know, and see what you feel comfortable with and what really appeals to you, your personal taste. Everybody is a little bit different with it. So, you know, and as I mentioned, you could always fill this in a little bit more, make it, you know, bring it more to the edge, have flowers coming off of the edge, such as this one. Play with your greenery a little bit, maybe switch up your colors. If you wanted to do, say, some of the light pink as well as some orange and blue flowers all mixed in together, that's a lot of fun. So there's so many options to work on, but I just wanted to show this to you. I thought mixing the red with the Chinese white really worked nice as far as softening that color, and you could do that with a blue or with an orange and just soften it a little bit, and then use the solid color for the middle to give it that special pop. So that's pretty much it for today with our little delicate flowers. And as I had mentioned earlier, if you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, I really would appreciate it. And also feel free to leave a comment below. I love to see the comments. And until next time, ciao for now.